Welcome back to the Gallowgateshots YouTube channel. My name is Matthew, and thank you for being here for another episode of Beyond the Lines. It's the show where we get an opposition supporter's view when it comes to previewing Newcastle's next game. And on Saturday, 8 o'clock, Villa Park. That's right, boys and girls. It's the Stephen Ireland derby as Newcastle face Aston Villa. And to help me preview this game on Saturday, I have a massive Aston Villa supporter with me. It is the beautiful, it's the brilliant, and the fantastically named Matt. How is it going, my friend? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure, mate. We actually were going to do this a month or so ago, weren't we? Until COVID struck. Newcastle, the first club to do so. We did it before it was fashionable. But it doesn't seem to have helped us one bit. Now, normally later on, I ask people about, previous games, any memories of games at, like I say, at Newcastle Villa Park. We spoke about this earlier offline about how every good bit and every moment has happened at St James's Park. Boya Dyer, the 6-0 for Newcastle. But we'll talk about that another time. I haven't spoken to a Villa fan, I don't think, ever, right? So one thing I'm going to bring up is this rivalry. What some might say is a rivalry, born of bed sheets and black spray paint and a relegation and a summer's afternoon in 2009. Would you say there's a rivalry there, mate? Would you say there's a rivalry between you and Aston Villa fans?
No. I certainly don't feel a rivalry with Newcastle, and I don't know of any Villa fans that do either.
Yeah.
Of course, I understand where it comes from. The whole sub on the tile in 2009. I wasn't there that day, but I remember watching it quite vividly at uni. And it was obviously intended to wind Newcastle fans up, and it obviously did that. But for me, it was a bit far. It's not something I would have done. It's not something I'd really condone. It's quite a sensitive time for Newcastle fans.
Yeah,
and they're obviously getting relegated. So yeah, I think it was a little bit too far. But it's certainly not a rivalry that we feel anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I won't lie. I'd be totally lying if I said it let go over my head. I've had a chip on my shoulder for a little while about it. But I mean, like you said, minorities and stuff. But I think Mark put it best on a video we did called Time Machine, where we actually reviewed the season following the relegation. If you haven't seen it, please go watch it. And Mark mentions that, Newcastle being Newcastle, whether you like it or not, a big club, first time relegated from the Premier League, whoever we were playing that day, with Alan Shearer as manager, someone was going to have a go, we were going to get relegated, and I think anyone would have had a go. So we'll draw a line under that now. I'm going to say that the rivalry is no more. Whoever says it is, they can have their moments and stuff. But I'm
not sure NUFC Twitter will agree, but
I still hate you, but whatever. But before we get into everything else, mate, let's talk about Aston Villa. This season so far, you look at the table, 11th in the table with 1 million games in hand. Some really good results. Granted, that's 7-2 against the champions Liverpool. What have you made of it so far? Are you happy with how things are going?
Yeah, I mean, you can't judge it based on the table because of those games in hand, and this Saturday's game will go a long way to giving a true reflection. In terms of performances, I couldn't be happier with how it's gone. To be honest with you, I think there's probably only one game this season that I can say we didn't give a good account of ourselves, and that was the loss at home to Leeds. I think even some of the games we've lost, against United, City last night, the draw at Chelsea, we've actually played really well. And I think there's some games even where that we've managed to lose against, Brighton and West Ham in particular, that we've been a bit unlucky with decisions going against us. But there's also been games where we haven't been able to finish our chances, like Burnley at home, 0-0. So I think a bit better finishing, maybe a bit of a swing in luck, and we could have a few more points on the board. But yeah, really happy with the performances. I think some of the new guys coming in, the recruitment's been fantastic. Martinez in goal, what a signing! It's crazy that he spent so long on the bench for Arsenal. Matty Cash at right back. I knew he was kind of a marauding fullback, but defensively he's been incredibly solid. Barkley, a very astute loan signing, and Watkins up front as well. He works his arse off up there and puts teams under a lot of pressure, and I think he probably deserves a few more goals. So hopefully they're coming. But I think, really happy with how we've performed so far this season.
Well, just to touch on a couple of players, we'll get to the main man in a second, but I do have Ollie Watkins down here in my notes. Obviously, big price tag club record, £28 million, I think it was. And a lot of people scoffed at that. I'd seen a lot of him the previous season for Brentford. He was fantastic in that, especially with the other attack on talents that they had in that squad at the time. So £28 million. I think he scored 6 goals so far this season. But, is he already proven worth the money?
Yeah, and that was a hat-trick against Liverpool in that crazy game as well. Yeah. I think he is, though. Yeah, I think we needed that kind of, I want to say focal point, but it's what he does off the ball, and the runs he makes into the channel are just so invaluable to the way we play. I think we were really missing that last season. I think we went for months without a striker at one point. After Wesley got injured, it was a bit of a struggle. So yeah, I think he's been a really important signing. It's crucial to the way we play, and I think Dean Smith said when we went down to 10 men against Palace, there's no one he'd rather have in the Premier League up front than Ollie Watkins when you're in that position. So I think that kind of tells you a lot about how highly he regards him, and I think the fans kind of really appreciate what he's been doing. The thing to do more of is obviously score goals. As you say, he scored 6, but he probably should have a few more than that with the chances he's had. A few near misses. He's hit the woodwork a few times.
Missed a penalty as well, didn't he? I think he missed a penalty against West Ham,
Yeah, he missed a penalty against West Ham. So yeah, he probably should have a few more. But I think it'll come. He's working incredibly hard. He's doing the job for the team, and the goals will come.
And obviously, Mr. Jack Grealish, a player I'm very envious of. He's sort of put his future at the club, well, short-term future, to rest and signed that new contract. Got in the England side. He's looked fantastic most of the times I've watched him this season. Do you think he's going to be at Villa long? Or do you think that there's a chance he will eventually make that step up? No disrespect to Villa.
No, absolutely. I thought he'd go. I thought he'd go in the summer during last season. But I think with the signings we've made, especially seemingly his mate Barkley coming in, I think that the club have shown a fair bit of ambition, and he obviously thought, I'll give it another go. Of course, there was a price tag put on him, and the likes of Man United didn't want to pay it. They wanted to focus on Sancho. But I think now we've got to this point, and we're performing really well in the league. I think there's no reason why he can't stay, because at the moment we're looking like we can push for Europe. So why not? I mean, maybe a Champions League side will come in for him, and that'll turn his head. But he's a boyhood Villa fan, club captain. He's kind of living his dream at the moment. So I'm not too worried about him leaving imminently unless our form really dips.
How old is he? How old is he, Matt? Now?
He's 25.
25, so still so many years in the tank as well. Yeah. So, I mean, you could stay a couple of years and then maybe a team coming in his prime, but I mean, we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves there.
Yeah, I think people probably think he's a bit younger sometimes because it's taken him a while to get into the England squad, but I think part of that was, us playing in the Championship. And I think a lot of it was Southgate's reluctance, and I think there is potentially something personal there. There's a lot of speculation. It was, about him playing for the Ireland under-21s when Southgate was under-21s manager, and maybe his attitude when he was younger and stuff like that. So we don't know. It's speculation. But it took him a while to break through. But now that he has for England, should be no looking back. And I think for me, it's a no-brainer to start him. I think it's exactly what England need. That kind of player who will carry the ball forward. And obviously, he's an incredible creator as well, only behind De Bruyne this season and last season in terms of chances created in the Premier League. And kind of holding on to the ball, taking it under pressure, and winning free kicks, which is something that frustrates opposition fans a lot because he draws fouls. But I think when he played for England, I think a lot of people started to value that ability, whereas they weren't before.
Yeah, when it's for England, it's okay, but if it's against their club, I must admit I get frustrated with him. But that's purely because he's good at what he does. He might go down the ground a bit too easy sometimes, but he can turn you inside out, and before you know it, you've stuck a leg on him. But
exactly.
Moving on to Newcastle now, for those of you who don't know, Newcastle United's manager is Steve Bruce. Now, I'll forgive you if you didn't know that, because he only took charge and started doing things his way last Monday. Sorry, mate?
The gloves are off, right?
Yes. And I don't know where he's put them. He's probably wearing them on his feet at this moment in time. But look, like I said, I don't really speak to very many Villa fans, and so far this season and the majority of last season, we've been told how lucky we are to have Steve Bruce. We've been told he's doing a very good job, and then it sort of went down to being an adequate job. And a lot of his friends in the media have told us that, you know, it's exactly the same as it was under Rafa, and that's a conversation for another time. But Steve Bruce, am I right in saying he's not very good at football managing, or am I wrong, seeing as though you're a club who have suffered him before?
No, you're absolutely correct. I think I could probably talk about Steve Bruce for a long time, but I'll try and keep it relatively short. So I'll start with the positives. So to be fair to him, when he came in, we were a bit of a mess. He definitely kind of galvanised the dressing room, gave us some solidity, and there was some good times at the start. Particularly, I was at Reading away. We hadn't won away for about 400 days at that point, I think it was. And, you know, that was incredible. He made us solid. He shored us up. But obviously, it comes to a point, and it came to a point very quickly where that's just, you know, simply not enough. I think he relies on a bit of magic from individuals. And I think from what I've seen, I think you're lacking that without St. Maximin in recent weeks. But he had that at times with Jonathan Codger at Villa during that time. But yeah, it's obviously really limited, and he keeps talking about, you know, I just want the lads to put the effort in and roll their sleeves up. But hard work's just not enough, and there never seems to be a kind of coherent game plan. And I think the worst thing was when it starts going not so well, he goes into this kind of self-preservation mode. He starts talking about mass hysteria, and I think from what I've seen, a lot of Newcastle fans are obviously seeing this and are rightly kind of outraged by it because it's quite insulting to the fans. But we've seen it; it's the same story playing out exactly as it did at Villa. Everything from the mass hysteria comments to the media chums, it's all the same. There's various comments in the media, even the whole narrative that you know, the fans don't like him because he managed their rivals. I've seen that come up as well with Newcastle. And it's just obviously, you know, utter nonsense. So his media chums are behind him. But some of he's gone to the next level now, I think, at Newcastle, where he's talking about these really baffling comments last week that I struggle to believe were real. When he's talking about I was a bang average player and maybe I am as a manager as well. So yeah, he's gone down a new route there. But everything else, we saw it all. And you know what? The best thing to happen to us was probably losing that playoff final in 2018. I think if we'd have won that game and gone up under Bruce, you know, we'd never be where we are now. So
wouldn't have had a platform, I guess. You would have probably started losing games from the get-go.
Yeah, exactly. We would have come straight back down. If that was the springboard for us, it kind of set off a sequence of events where we got new owners, and then we got Dean Smith in, who I rate very highly. It's hard to imagine him getting the chance if we were in the Premier League and it started badly. So him coming in when we were in the Championship, you know, we were 13th when he took over from Bruce. I think it was November 2018 or around that time, or October. Went on a winning run, won 10 in a row, got into the playoffs, and obviously, the rest is history.
Speaking of your manager, he was a bit naughty the other night.
He was,
he got sent off. I said something. He said something about the fourth official being a clown or something like that.
Yeah, he said, "Did you get juggling balls for Christmas?"
Well, at least it's not too offensive. But there was a. I'm trying to remember who said it on Twitter, but he made the observation. Someone made the observation that. You know, with your manager being banned for the next game, that means there won't be a Premier League manager in either dugout come Saturday. I'm going to feel really bad. I meant to write the guy's name down and give him some credit, but I'm not nicking your pattern, man. I will remember your name and I'll tweet about it or something. But I just thought it was a really funny tweet.
I did see that one.
But coming on to the game on Saturday, you've got to be confident going to this one, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it objectively, and the Villa are the team in better form. So yeah, I'd have to back Villa to win this one. But there is probably a bit of hope for Newcastle in terms of last night would have been a pretty draining game for Villa, having not played for a few weeks and hardly trained as well. So it's hard to know exactly how much that's taken out of them at this stage. So I guess that we'll see on Saturday night. McGinn's suspended as well. Picked up a yellow card last night for delaying the play after a free kick when we were bringing on subs. So Dino was a bit annoyed about that one. But yeah, he's banned on Saturday. So there'll have to be a bit of a reshuffle. I'm not too sure what he'll do. El Ghazi's been in good form. He might come back into the team, and Grealish might play a bit deeper potentially, or he could drop Barkley in there, or he could play the youngster Ramsey. So it's hard to know exactly what he's going to do, especially with Horahan's just gone out on loan to Swansea, so he can't just bring him in as he probably would have done before. But I think, in terms of the tiredness, maybe there's a chance there, but I mean, from watching Newcastle lately, there's not a huge amount of attacking threat. I mean, obviously Wilson's always a danger. I think he's a good striker. But yeah, I'd hope we could see this one out, and hopefully with a clean sheet. So 2-0.
2-0. Well, I mean, I looked back at our record at Villa Park, and it's very hit and miss. There's a lot of 2-1s, 1-1s, 0-0s. You know, I mean, I remember us in 2008 getting smashed 4-1. John Carew scoring a hat trick. So there's a recall. But I mean, everything you've said, I totally agree with, mate. Newcastle's attacking prowess is just not there at the moment. It's plain to see. It's just super defensive football, and it's not even good at defending. So
it's a shame to see, because it's a great club with hugely passionate fans. So it's kind of sad to see at the moment. And playing 5 at the back against Sheffield United, bottom of the league, it's a bit of a baffling decision. So wishing a man to lose his job. Obviously, I don't wish you have to endure this for too much longer.
Well, it's been reported in the local media that apparently he hasn't been put any pressure on him, but he hasn't been reassured of his job either. Well, that just sounds to me like an absent owner, an absent director. Just not giving a crap, really.
That's what it looks like a bit from the outside. I mean, you guys will obviously know 100 times more about this, but it feels like Mike Ashley maybe doesn't want to have to pay to make the change. Perhaps, I don't know if that's true, or he's just not lost it. He's lost interest and wants to sell the club as quickly as possible. I'm not sure what that is, but any other manager would be under extreme pressure if not gone by now, I think.
But like you said, I mean, we're all going through tough times. And he's always been a penny pincher, even though he's a billionaire, and maybe he doesn't want to pay that, whatever it's £1.5 million if he sacks Bruce. But that seems pennies to a billionaire when you're going to want to sell your asset for £300 million. And surely, if you want to get that price, you need that team to be in the Premier League. So that's what's baffling us. I appreciate that there's questions of who would come in and all that stuff, and it's been talked about on the channel before. But right now, something needs to change, and I don't think that Steve Bruce is only going to take us one direction. And like you said, what you said was spot on about his excuses. His survival mode. Pointing the finger, never taking it on himself. I mean, he said a couple of times, "Oh, I picked the wrong team," but his choices have just been baffling. The Sheffield United one, like you've just mentioned, was ridiculous. Only starting Callum Wilson and Ryan Fraser, and expecting Ryan Fraser to do a lot of defending for the majority of the game, and even been subsequently got sent off. But like you said, 2-0, mate. I'm probably going to agree with you, mate. I feel like it's going to be just one of those really soul-sucking games. And you've said that the team might be fatigued. I don't think it'd matter. We're not going to close you down. So I mean, and you've looked really neat, played some really good football when I've watched this. Albeit, I remember watching that Leeds game, but that was Leeds were on fire that night. I thought
Bamford was just putting in the top corner.
Bamford, all 3 of his goals, even the tap-in was nice. I remember that game. But I do expect you to comfortably win, mate. Last question. I mean, what's your goals for the season? I mean, is it are you just going to be just go for a top half finish, a bit sensible, and then see what can happen, or are you really hoping you can get to top 6, top 7?
Well, before the season, you're kind of thinking, hopefully we can, be kind of solid lower mid-table. You're thinking, we'd take 12th, 13th, but the way we started, I think we have to aim for Europe. We have to aim for top 7 now. It's going to be hard because obviously there's a lot of clubs that some good teams are going to miss out on the Champions League, aren't they? It's going to be Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal are hit a bit of form. They're coming back into it. But there's loads of teams up there. So I mean, a good result would be top half. Yeah, if you could finish 9th or 10th, that'd be a good result. But shoot for the stars and look for Europe. I think they'll be thinking about it based on the performances anyway.
Well, I'm not jealous at all, mate. I'm not jealous at all. But appreciate you coming on, mate. To everyone watching, cheers, mate. But for everyone watching, thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the Gallowgateshots YouTube channel. Please like the video and please share the video as well. Cheers.